everyone. So I've come to my old council house on Tunstall Street number 13. That there, if you can see, was my bedroom, just up there. And the reason why I've come here today, because one of the postcards of Scouse pilgrimage is 2002. And the reason why I put this as one of the snapshots or memoirs of the postcards is because this is where we moved to a council house for the first time after living for so many years on top of my grandparents' corner shop on Lawrence Road. And this was really important because this was the first time where we had a proper house and not just living on top of a corner shop. And if you've ever lived on top of a corner shop, it's a different type of layout, scenery, and this for me was the beginning of playing as a child on the streets, because we had a road, so we weren't able to play, and this is where the first time we would make real friendships. So I had friends across the road where their houses were here before they built the school, and I think what this postcard highlights is the relationship between me and my mother. And me and my mum had a difficult relationship growing up. Not because there was any dislike towards each other, I think it was trying to understand each other. And hence why this piece says, "Mum, I don't want to be here. Your village is my city, and my sky is political, and it's raging." And that's what it was. It really was. So I'm so glad to be here. I've had some really good memories, but also some difficult ones. In this photograph, you've got myself and my brother. This would have been just a few years after we arrived to Liverpool from Yemen. And just to be quite accurate, it would have been somewhere here where my mum would have taken this photograph. This photograph is really important to this project because it just shows the early years of our childhood in Liverpool. My mum was a photographer, an inspiring photographer. She had a camcorder everywhere we went, and she made sure that we'd create memories through the photographs that we see. And I'm so glad she did, because to be able to look back at the age of 26, when I was, when me and my brother were in our, 5 and 6 years of age, it's just, it's important. And this is where self-love begins again. When the world rejects you, or you feel like you've been rejected, to come back here and to recreate this journey is, I'm feeling a little bit emotional, if I'm honest. We had really good memories in this park. We really did. Come here and have picnics with the family. The poem that I have, or the snapshot or memoir, is the ginger boy that's always in my poetry, and this ginger boy becomes a friend of mine. And it was actually right here. We were having a picnic with the family, and then this little ginger boy comes up to him and goes, "Hey, where do you come from?" And in dedication to this memory, this is the poem that goes along with it. Where do you really come from? I picking at my skin scarred with mosquito bites to remind me what is marked should never be forgotten. And in my perfect broken Scouse, I come from here. So this was the earliest memories of being asked that question, where do you come from? So right now I'm on Earl Road, and this is the road that connects to Lawrence Road. And Earl Road, Lawrence Road are the roads that, we spent a lot of our lives here. And of course, I went to school around here and we went to the church here. So, why am I here? Well, this is the first place we arrived from Yemen to Liverpool. Oh, it's so good to be back. Still noisy. I mean, the pub hasn't changed. And then of course Jenny's. Don't know if you can see. So Jenny used to make hard chips. But then I remember once she said to us, "Oh, do you know the chips, Amina, are mixed with the pork sausages?" And we were like, "Oh, Jenny." We were horrified. So this is Jenny's. And then of course, this is our corner shop. I wish I could go in. I mean, it looks a lot more different than it used to be. We had metal shutters here. How do I feel? I feel quite emotional, to be honest. Because obviously this was, what would you say? This was obviously the first home we arrived to. Yes, this was our road where we used to play. So my friend Tracy lived just right here, and we'd come out the alleyway from the shop. Let me show you the alleyway. Oh gosh, this is so embarrassing. But anyways, so the alleyway is here. This port is symbolic to a lot of Yemeni sailors who came, some say late 1800s, some say even earlier. But history tells us that many had come post-war and also before the war. And my grandparents didn't come through this port. However, it is symbolic to the Yemeni diaspora, not just Liverpool, many other cities, major cities across the UK, and Scouse pilgrimage at Albert Dock, which is quite symbolic, isn't it? So, and not just the Yemeni community, many communities came through this port. So I'm at the Albert Dock now, and one thing I've learned through writing is that this, around here and everywhere, is not where our Scouse identity only belongs. It belongs in our communities, and it belongs right where we live. I mean, I never used to come here when I was a child. It was actually quite expensive for us to come to the city centre growing up. It was only like once a term, you know, when we'd go out as a family, but never really used to visit around here. And I think a lot of Scousers resonate with this, that their Scouse identity does not even belong here, though. There are certain things that are so symbolic, like the liver bird, statues of the Beatles and all that, but I just feel like one thing that I've learned through, obviously, through Scout pilgrimage is that, and kind of like thinking about that journey from Yemen to Liverpool, is that journeys belong everywhere and our stories can start anywhere, but I would never choose here to start with. I'd choose Lawrence Road, I'd choose Toxteth, and that's not because one area is better than the other. It's where memories were created. So I think it's really important that we don't forget what this port meant to a time of horrific times of slavery, and that we don't forget that of its trade links. As well as celebrating, we also need to acknowledge what the city represented and how some of these streets, places, houses have benefited from slavery. But here we are. We learn and we grow, but change needs to happen as well. And the first type of change is acknowledgement, and also accepting that, yeah, we love our city with Scousers, but it's also accepting and acknowledging that history, and to actually tell history accurately. There's no point us being proud if we're not going to be honest about our history. And when I say our, it is ours, it's our responsibility. I can't walk down these streets or these roads and say how proud I am without acknowledging also that dark and horrific and ugly part of history that Liverpool played a part in. And yes, I've still got so much more to learn. But I think this is why Scouse Pilgrimage is so important to me, because it's allowed me to go on this journey, to ask these questions. So we leave Albert Dock. I'm at St George's Hall, recreating that photograph of me and my brother. I love that photograph for one reason, because of the oversized clothes that we had on. My mum used to dress us up in clothes that were like 3 times bigger than us. But it was right outside, just there by the black pole. And yeah, so I've come here to recreate that memory, recreate that photograph. And of course, one of the postcards inspired by this is my journey from Yemen to Britain. And the poem for this is: I'm a dark horse, beating down the door somewhere, childhood escaped the streets, etching 3 syllables of my name beneath the old city of Berber, Yemen. A woman dressed in black found me, shackled to the gates. It was my mother, chewing on her ruby passport. So that's the poem for this location.